President Trump has revoked his invitation for Canada to join his newly founded Board of Peace. This comes as there have been a kind of an angry exchange of words between the Canadian government and the U.S. government. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, citing tariffs as a rupture in the New World Order and saying of Trump that he was wrong to say that Canada lives primarily because of the United States. CBS News chief foreign affairs correspondent and moderator of Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan, joins me now. You spoke to the Canadian ambassador to the United States. This is quite a row, as they would say across the pond.
They would, and really an incredible moment. The ambassador has been here for so many years, helped negotiate that free trade deal that the United States and Canada are now in the midst of a standoff over whether they're going to renew it and extend it or not. But you just think about the alliance between the U.S. and Canada. We have a shared border. We have deep trade, one of our best customers and vice versa. And we have integrated defense. We have NORAD defending the northern part of this hemisphere, and they're a NATO ally. So this is really just a completely new territory to be in. There was a little bit of news that actually happened mid-interview as we were recording, where President Trump posted to his account that Canada, an Arctic power, is against his planned Golden Dome over Greenland. And I asked the ambassador to respond. Do you know what he's talking about, that Canada has rejected being involved?
I'm afraid I don't. But what I can say about the Golden Dome is this. Canada is investing over $80 billion over the next 5 years in our defense systems. And a big part of that is Arctic defense. And a big part of our Arctic defense investments are something called over-the-horizon radar, which is a system that allows us to see the threats that are coming into the Arctic before they arrive. So that is part, and when we have talked to the president about protecting our hemisphere, we have talked about ways in which our different capabilities can work together so that we have eyes on the region and we cooperate in a way that protects both of our countries.
So the president has described that as Canada wanting to plug in to the system. As you understand it, that's the better description, your own system that would coordinate?
Right. Much as we do across all sorts of defense systems where we're interoperable, we work together, we make our investments that make sense for Canada in defending our territory and defending our sovereignty, but we work with the Americans and other allies to maximize the benefits of those.
So in short, you do think there needs to be more focus on Arctic defense, but you're on board to help do that.
We're deeply committed to Arctic defense, absolutely.
And that's notable not just because Canada is where it is on the map, but it happens to be the country closest to Greenland in terms of Arctic power. So we're not clear on what the president was talking about, but there wasn't a vote on this. In fact, Canada is, and they had meetings with Trump officials and military officials about planning this layered missile defense. That's still really just a concept. It hasn't fully been briefed to Congress. There's $25 billion that Congress has already pledged to it, but it's not fully funded. President Trump called that just a down payment. It's going to be a really expensive system, whatever it ends up being.
Right, and we don't even know what it's a down payment for yet, technologically.
Right.
So it is worth pointing out that Canada and the United States have a close relationship, more than economic. Canadian soldiers fought alongside Americans and died in the U.S. war in Afghanistan. What did the ambassador have to say about that? Because this has become a big topic after Davos. Even Prince Harry weighed in on it today about allied sacrifices right after 9/11 under Article 5 in NATO Charter.
Right, and the president's remarks to Fox News were specific to Afghanistan and the battlefield there, where he said, we never asked NATO for anything. They didn't do anything. They say they helped us in Afghanistan, but they weren't even close to the front lines. Now, this isn't a matter of hurt feelings. This is a matter of insult to the families of the dead. That's how it was received in Canada. That's how it was received in Prince Harry's home country of the United Kingdom, where they had over 400 casualties. The United States had about 2,000. By
definition, we're near or on the front line.
Right. And you know what? As a journalist, I feel responsible whenever I was talking or reporting from Afghanistan and trying to emphasize that ISAF and the NATO forces there, we often shorthanded as the troops or American troops. America did carry the weight of the financial load, the military load, the intelligence load. But on so many of those bases, the perimeter would be guarded by a foreign national that was there in alliance with the United States of America, because this was a NATO response from 2001 to 2014, when there was that end of combat operations, though it wasn't an end to a presence. But when the United States pulled out, NATO pulled out too. And there were others on the front lines who were very much in peril as well.
And these are historical facts, ladies and gentlemen, that are simply not in dispute. And as Margaret just said, this is about much more than hurt feelings or diplomatic ruffling of feathers. There are real families who experienced and still experience a measure of grief because their loved one sacrificed alongside Americans in Afghanistan.
Exactly. And all politics is local. It gets harder for their political leaders when their public feels that they have been insulted.
Indeed. Margaret Brennan, always a pleasure. Thank you so very much. You can see Margaret Brennan's full interview with Canadian Ambassador to the United States, Kirsten Hillman, on Sunday, 10:30 Eastern, right here